Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. In order for Donald Trump to defeat Kamala Harris, he's going to have to defeat the media again. That's right, I said it. He's going to have to defeat the media again. The media is running a campaign against Donald Trump, along with the DNC, along with the globalists, in order to defeat we, the people, right here in the United States of America. He is not going to get a fair shot in the media. It's just simply not going to happen. I absolutely love the fact that former President Trump went on to X to have a conversation with Elon Musk. I think it's one of the smartest things that he's done. Frankly, since Joe Biden resigned or basically decided not to run again or was forced out of the race, let's be honest, it was a straight up coup. So since Joe Biden was kicked out of the race, I think it's the smartest thing that Trump has done. And as a matter of fact, I am so glad that Elon Musk invited him on because I think it helped Trump focus on policy, which I think is going to be very important going forward. Now, guys, I say this as a person that understands that politics is largely emotional. There are going to be people that are going to vote for Kamala Harris simply because they hate Trump, simply because they're wedded to the Democrat Party. The same could be said about Republicans, although I'd like to believe that Republicans, for the vast majority of Republicans, tend to be more informed on policy issues. But they too, some may not vote for Trump simply because they don't like him. Some may vote for Kamala Harris and help destroy the United States of America if she does win, simply because they don't like Trump, which I think is foolish. I love what happened on X earlier this week. I think Elon Musk, and I don't think this was intentional. I just think he made Trump more likable. It was fascinating to listen to a discussion between two very smart and important men in the United States of America. Trump, formerly the most powerful man in the United States of America, Elon Musk, the most powerful man in the world at one point, and Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And it was fascinating because Elon Musk, basically a guy that was left, went to moderate, has basically come out and said, listen, I'm voting for Trump. He endorsed Trump and he encouraged other moderates that might be in the middle to endorse Trump. And guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be talking about the interview with Elon Musk. We'll get into Kamala Harris's record. I don't think there's a need for Republicans to wait for Kamala Harris to put out some type of policy plan. We already know Kamala Harris's policies. The policies that will be put out by a group of people that are conducting polls somewhere to see, sticking their finger up in the air to see which way the wind blows so that she can be the chameleon that she is in order to try to win the election. This lady has already stolen one of Trump's policies, no tax for tips. However, which was very stupid of her, she combined that policy with a minimum wage hike, which would cause those people to lose their jobs. All right. So the lady is completely clueless. There's a lot of people out there thinking that Kamala Harris is playing dumb. She's not playing. She doesn't have any real world experience. I believe she worked for McDonald's when she was a teenager. Outside of that, the lady has worked government jobs for her entire life, and she's nearly 60 years old. So she doesn't have a lot of real life experience. This is a lady that absolutely loves power. This is why I believe connecting with Elon Musk was so important for Trump, because I think it will get him to shift his mind. Because guys, we have to remember Donald Trump just a few weeks ago, and quite frankly, for probably a couple of years at least, has been salivating over the opportunity to run against Joe Biden and defeat him this time. And things were going that way until June 7th occurred. June 7th, obviously, being the disastrous debate. I'm almost wondering if Trump regrets giving him the debate at this point in time, because perhaps he would still be running against Joe Biden. Who knows? All right. But anyway, obviously, that hurt Joe Biden. That sent all of the donors and the Democratic apparatus in an absolute panic. They staged a coup with Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama. You even had George Clooney get involved. And there's no doubt, do not think for a second that Kamala Harris didn't play a part in that coup. Simply because, why do I say that? Carl, you have no proof. Of course I do. Of course I do. It's called the 25th Amendment. There's only one person that would have had the ultimate leverage to enact the 25th Amendment. And that would have been Kamala Harris getting the cabinet together to invoke the 25th Amendment. So Nancy Pelosi can take credit, and there's no doubt she led the charge. She bragged about it. But if Nancy Pelosi didn't have the backing of powerful leaders, the Chuck Schumers, the Vice President Kamala Harris, Hakeem Jeffries, right, then I don't believe Joe Biden would have gone anywhere. Now, let me get back to this interview. This interview was very important. It was very smart. Hence, some of the panic that you see going on in the media, today. I liked hearing the conversations on policy. I think Trump was fluid. I mean, obviously, he was a bit ADD. It's Trump, but I understand that. I'm a little bit ADD at times. But this man proved that at the age of 78, he can have a nice, long 2-hour conversation with Elon Musk talking about policy and other things. And be completely fluid. Now, there was a microphone problem, so people are trying to say, well, Trump was slurring his word. He wasn't slurring his words. That was a microphone condenser problem or whatever the issue was. There's some people speculating that maybe somebody at Twitter was trying to sabotage him or X. I don't know. Nonetheless, when you listen to the interview, and I didn't get the opportunity to listen to the entire interview, but I was able to listen to big chunks of the interview or the discussion. And what I heard, I absolutely liked. I liked the back and forth. And I liked the fact that Elon Musk wasn't just an interviewer. I like that Elon Musk is an American citizen, obviously an extremely talented, an important entrepreneur in the United States of America. It's a very successful businessman, obviously the richest man in the world. And he was sharing his concerns with Trump and asking Trump about them. And Trump was addressing those issues on the fly. And one of those, at least, he really pressed him on. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating. I want to play a video clip for you. This is video clip number 4. This is CNN going apoplectic already over the Trump Elon Musk discussion, which proves that it was successful. Let's go ahead and roll it. Por favor, Gabe.
Began with 40 minutes of silence and then a bropocalypse of politics. No matter how you frame it or what caused the glitch, what was finally said between Donald Trump and Elon Musk at last night's Big X event can largely be defined as a rant filled with familiar lies and lines of attack.
All right.
Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not smart. She's not a smart person. She is a radical left San Francisco liberal, and now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump. She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride.
All right, but did it do what it was designed to do, which was to put the brakes on Harris's momentum?
Yeah. Actually, I believe that it did, or I believe that it can, and I believe that Trump needs to do more of those. Whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's a Joe Rogan, I think he needs to do interviews like this. Guys, let's just shoot straight here. The campaign has totally shifted, and Republicans have to realize this. Trump has to realize this. Trump is excellent when it comes to policy, but there is whether you like it or not, there's a likability factor. I like Trump. I have no problem with him, but there are voters that are going to decide the election. Some that can tolerate him, some that like him enough, some that absolutely can't stand him. And those are the people that he's going to try and win over, or has to try and win over. It's not going to be the people that are the everyday Joes, if you will, that are following him around to rallies. At this point, Trump has them. Trump has me. He has you. He has them. But now Elon Musk brings them on. And by the way, Elon Musk fairly invited Kamala Harris on as well. And I think Trump is right that Kamala Harris wouldn't do an interview like this. There's no way that she could. And frankly, again, as I said earlier, I do not think that Republicans should be sitting and waiting for policy positions from Kamala Harris. We already know who she is. Kamala Harris is a straight up Marxist. All right. I mean, it's as simple as that. The policies that she supported, open borders. I mean, abolishing, getting rid of ICE or reforming ICE. This is a lady that is a complete and utter radical. This is a lady also that is in part responsible for the Afghanistan debacle that we saw. I'll remind you of some of the policies that Biden reversed, making a World War III likely to happen under the Biden-Harris administration. And don't forget that Harris reminded us that she was in the room with Joe Biden, and the last one in the room with Joe Biden, making those decisions when it came to Afghanistan, and she absolutely had no regrets. We know who Kamala Harris is. Why do we know who Kamala Harris is? Because she's nearly 60 years old. She's been a DA in California. She's been an AG in California. She's been a senator in California, and she's been the vice president of the United States going on 4 years now. We know her policies. Everything else that they're going to try to present to us in a nice, clean package is going to be absolute gaslighting. Nothing more, nothing less. When I return, we'll go through some of the big issues that Elon Musk and Trump hit. Stay tuned. All right, Carl Jackson here for Priority Gold. Economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and 401k account as the stock market braces for impact. With inflation on the rise and global uncertainty looming, it's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. In times like this, Proverbs 21:20 reminds us to preserve what we built. Right now, that wisdom points us towards gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, time to make it a priority. My name, again, is Carl Jackson, and I am urging you to call my friends at Priority Gold to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit prioritygold.com/golden for a free gold info guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Call 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist or visit prioritygold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD. All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, I am making the case that in order to defeat Kamala Harris, Trump is going to have to defeat the media again. They're not going to slack. They are going to be all in for Vice President Kamala Harris. They are going to try to take her over the finish line. This lady has been missing in action when it comes to giving a press conference for literally 20 odd or plus days, with the exception of a minute here or 2 minutes there. And she's basically controlling the media, not saying much of anything at all. So in order to smoke her out, if you will, Trump is going to have to brand her, and he's going to have to brand the media. There's going to be a lot of media hits, and we're going to show you some video that with the media, as we did already with CNN. They're absolutely panicking. That interview was 2 hours long. That discussion between Trump and Musk was 2 hours long. And the only part that they could come up with some position that wasn't a policy position in order to bash him. CNN is going to do nothing but bash Trump, MSNBC, mainstream media, legacy media in general. So we have to brace ourselves for that. But Trump is still going to have to defeat them. He's going to have to defeat the media. Let me get back to why I believe that this interview with Elon Musk was very important. I believe that the assassination attempt on Trump's life, I believe that God gave Trump a second chance, and I also believe that he gave America a second chance. But Trump's got to make good on that second chance. And quite frankly, so do we, the people, as voters. Now, getting back to this interview, some of the reasons that I liked it, I just liked the flow of the conversation. I believe that when a person has convictions, you don't have to wait a month or two for policy positions to come out. They know what they believe. They have common sense. Trump is a businessman. He's been in the business atmosphere for his entire life, virtually. He knows what he believes. Kamala Harris has been a political figure for the vast majority of her life. Stop and think about that. She was raised by a dad that was a Marxist, a professor at Stanford University, an economist, but he was a Marxist. All right. And then she was raised by a black dad, Indian mom who was an activist and a science researcher, I believe a cancer researcher, if I recall correctly. So this was a even though her parents were divorced at a young age, this was a young lady that was basically molded into socialism and activism. This is what she wanted to do. Now, she didn't have the work ethic, if you will, to get to the places she needed to be, but she has proven to do whatever it takes to get where she needs to get. And she's willing to do the same now. We're watching that in live time, quite frankly. So again, going back to this interview, this is what makes interviews like this with Elon Musk so important for Trump, because he's got to go outside of the regular norms in order to win more votes. And Elon Musk is respected by a lot of people. He's hated by a lot of people on the left now, even though Elon Musk was a man on the left and admitted so in the exchange with Trump, although he has said that he's moderated now. But Trump was fluid. Again, a little ADD, but he came off more likable. And I think just hearing Trump in a regular, for the most part, a regular conversation, obviously it was heavy on policy, I think would help him. And I would encourage for those of you that may have listened or may not have listened to go on to X and grab that conversation off of Trump's post. And again, it was historical because that was Trump's debut. Coming back onto it used to be Twitter, now the X platform. But it proved that Trump was knowledgeable on a vast array of issues, because Elon Musk wasn't just giving an interview. He was having a discussion, and Trump was able to speak fluidly on the topics of discussion. So this motto could appeal to people that will never step foot into a Trump rally, never desire to watch a Trump rally. And that's what made it so important. And there were a lot of takeaways. They talked about a government efficiency commission, and basically Heritage outlined some of this. Trump talked about how the shot to his head turning at the perfect time and looking at this chart, just perfect timing, where he literally basically looks in the way of the gunman, saved his life. And he even joked that illegal immigration saved his life. I mean, the guy could be funny too. He talked about illegal immigration. Again, how it saved his life, but the impact that illegal immigration has on American citizens. He talked about how the coup that was staged against Joe Biden and how, frankly, he didn't like that. He talked about defective government, and he ridiculed the Biden-Harris administration as defective. And I think he's going to have to start calling it, frankly, the Harris-Biden administration, because no one in their right mind believes that Joe Biden is running anything at this point. I know that there's some points where Joe Biden is lucid, and maybe there's some things that come to mind that he wants to get accomplished, and maybe he spouts them out. But he's not overseeing any of that stuff. The guy is gone. He talked about an Iron Dome for America. He also talked about Joe Biden's vegetable state. And there's no doubt about it that Joe Biden basically is a vegetable at this point. But Trump is going to have to keep doing interviews like this, because the more he does interviews like this, the more people are going to ask, wait a minute, where's Kamala Harris? Are we going to go a full month? I mean, next week starts the DNC in Chicago. We'll have to see how that turns out. We'll have to see what the polling looks like after that. Her running mate, Tim Walsh, keeps running into issues where this guy has claimed to be he was with a Gold Star family claiming that he went overseas and he was in a war zone. We've got video clip of that we'll show you shortly. But here's Trump and Elon Musk talking about what happened in Afghanistan. Now, remember, Kamala Harris owned this in an interview, and I forget whom the interview was with. Unfortunately, we don't have the clip right now, but she owned this as the last person sitting in the room with Joe Biden to make that decision, and she did not regret it. Let's play video clip number 8. Billions of dollars, $85 billion, if I recall correctly, of equipment that we left behind in the hands of the Taliban, and now Bagram Air Force Base that we abandoned as well. You guys know the Chinese have taken over that base, right? Let's go ahead and roll video clip number 8. Por favor, Gabe.
We gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. You know, they're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country.
What happened to all of the equipment, the weapons, the vehicles, the ammunition, the night vision that the U.S. had their stockpile that we were using for the past 20 years? What happened to all that?
The Taliban have all of them, and it's not just the Taliban. We're talking about $86 billion worth of bases, equipment, military equipment, and the items that you mentioned. All were left for the Taliban, and the Taliban are very generous with their brethren in Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Hamas has them, Haqqani has them, Pakistani Taliban, Tehrik-e-Taliban, they have them. The Taliban have given those weapons to everyone. They're even found in places like Yemen. They're found in North Africa. All of these weapons were left behind. The way I look at it, it's the last gift-wrapped item that Mr. Biden left for the Taliban. And they're using that against the Afghan people. Once they're done with the Afghan people, they're going to continue marching west.
And Kamala Harris helped to make that decision. Guys, we don't have to sit and wait for Kamala Harris to come up with her policy positions. Again, we know Kamala Harris's policy positions. And thank you, President Trump, for reminding us of that Afghanistan debacle, because that interview, in my opinion, helped focus Trump in ways that he has to be focused, because people are going to remember politics is largely emotional, right? We get it. But I'm telling you right now, this situation, this time in history is so unique that a lot of the policy positions are emotional. People are feeling pain. They're feeling stressed about the economy. People don't want to go to war or want America to be involved in another war. This was a piece back in May from Breitbart, 13 Trump policies that Biden reversed, making war more likely. Well, I would say there are 13 policies that Harris and Biden reversed. Because listen, guys, Tim Walsh is Kamala Harris. Joe Biden is Kamala Harris. She's a lefty. She's a far lefty, right? She's a communist. I'm going to play some video for you shortly that is going to blow your mind. All right. But restoring the funding to the UNRWA and the Palestinians, that's what Trump signed the Taylor Force Act, which prevents the U.S. from funding the Palestinian Authority while it subsidizes terrorism. Trump also ended funding to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, which encourages anti-Israel and anti-Semitic radicalism. All of that was reversed. Dropping sanctions on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. That's something else that Harris and Biden did. Rejoining the corrupt UN Human Rights Council. That happened under Harris and Biden, trying to restore the Iran nuclear deal. And now you see this imminent war that looks like it's going to take place between Iran and Israel. This is all Harris and Biden, taking the Houthis off the terrorism list, ending the Iran sanctions, embracing a Palestinian state, a two-state solution. Are you kidding me? With Hamas basically stalling the Abraham Accords so peace stops spreading across the Middle East, revoking sanctions on the ICC, lifting sanctions on Venezuela. We see what's happening there, opposing Israel at the UN, threatening to withhold weapons from Israel. And Kamala Harris is now threatening a possible embargo against Israel if she gets in, and sanctioning Israelis. This is insane. We'll be back with more. Hey guys, I want to talk to you about wealth protection research. Did you guys hear just this week, that Paramount Pictures announced that they're laying off 15% of their staff? Well, with the volatility from this election and our national debt just breaking $35 trillion for the first time ever, there has never been a better time than now to consider physical gold or silver as a way to protect your savings. I am concerned that if this election goes sideways, things are going to get even worse. The good news is there is something you can do ahead of whatever future chaos might be coming. Wealth Protection Research has found a gold partner in Sasco Gold that specializes in helping everyday Americans protect their retirement accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or TSPs using a loophole that allows them to convert into physical gold or silver tax and penalty free. Text the word truth to 76626 to learn more. That's right. You can break free from your captive retirement account and enjoy the peace of mind knowing your retirement savings is now stored in physical gold and silver that you control. If you are interested in learning the truth about how you can protect your retirement with gold and silver, you can get a free gold investment kit that explains it all from Sasco Gold. All you have to do is text the word truth to 76626. Drew from Sasco is standing by waiting to help my listeners. Again, text the word truth to 76626. Tell Drew that Carl sent you. For your free gold investment kit, text the word truth to 76626. All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. And again, the case that I'm making to you this week is that in order for Trump to defeat Kamala Harris, he's going to have to defeat the media. He's going to have to defeat the media again, I should say. I'm going to be playing some video clips, and I think one of the best things that Trump has done post the assassination attempt on his life and resetting, if you will, his race is going on X and having this discussion with Elon Musk. I think that was a pivotal point in the Trump campaign this week, especially as we get ready this Monday to head into, or this next week to head into the DNC convention, where there's going to be more buzz around Kamala Harris and Walsh. And I would expect that their polls are going to rise a little bit and eventually stagnate, or at least I'm hopeful that they will stagnate. But this is exactly what Trump is going to have to do, because he has to remember, and you have to remember, that for the remainder of this race, it isn't Trump Vance versus Harris Walsh. It is Trump Vance versus the mainstream media, versus social media, versus the Hollywood elites, versus the global elites. I mean, so we have to do everything possible to get our message out beyond the people that we know are already going to vote for Trump. Now, here's something that I thought was really important that they need to touch on. Trump wants to disband the Department of Education. This is something that Republicans talk about, but none of them have had the courage to do at this point. And you get the sense that Trump, if reelected, may do this. Now, obviously, there will be a lot of opposition, but I think this is very important. We may not play all of this video clip, but let's go ahead and roll it. Por favor, Gabe, clip number 5.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great. And 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well run. Sure. And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, you can imagine that would terrify the Democrat Party. Why? Because the Democrat Party, the schools have become their breeding grounds from K through 12, even as far as pre-K. They have become their breeding grounds for cultivating more Democrat voters, and crazy ones, as a matter of fact, that believe in a lot of the far left-wing radical stuff that liberals espouse. So again, this is why I liked this interview with Elon Musk. Trump again addressed illegal immigration and violent crime. He addressed dangerous foreign leaders. The left's takeaway from that was, Trump said he can be friendly or something to that effect with Putin, or little rocket man of North Korea. And basically he was saying, listen, I don't understand this. These people were not a threat. Iran was not a threat. Putin was not a threat. North Korea was not a threat, but the media is never going to share that with you. That's why it's important for Trump to go on places like this. Now, all of those leaders are a threat now. Putin is a threat. Iran, the mullahs of Iran, not the people of Iran, but the mullahs of Iran, the Ayatollah, they're a threat. I mean, starting these proxy wars against Israel with Hezbollah, with Hamas. I mean, just absolutely insane. They talked about high inflation and taxes. They talked about cutting government spending and drill, baby, drill, if you will, encouraging domestic production of oil and natural gas. And as a matter of fact, at one point in time, Elon Musk butted in and offered to help Trump rein in federal spending. And when Trump kind of moved on from the issue, Elon Musk was like, no, I would, do this. And later on, Trump came back and said, yeah, maybe we would have you in to do something like that, because it's very important. It is time to stop the spending, cut the spending in Washington, D.C. And I understand the budget doesn't run exactly like a business ledger, as Trump pointed out in the discussion with Elon Musk. But honestly, we don't have to run the debts, the deficits that we do. We don't have to continue growing the national debt. You can cut taxes and put more money back in people's pockets, and we can stop the excessive government spending. We can stop the wasteful spending in Washington, D.C. You can't convince us that there's no wasteful spending in Washington, D.C. That's why it was very important to have this conversation with Elon Musk. But again, I am telling you right now that Trump is going to be going against the media. I want to play a video clip. This is Caitlin Collins, CNN anchor, I believe, on the Stephen Colbert show. She appeared earlier this week. The audience actually laughed at Caitlin Collins and laughed at CNN, if you will, when Stephen Colbert accidentally was funny and let a joke slip out about CNN being fair and balanced, basically. Let's go ahead and roll that video clip number 6, por favor, Gabe.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a... I know
that's supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
All right. It wasn't supposed to be a laugh line, but the audience laughs, and you could see how giddy Caitlin Collins was and trying to sharing that Trump is struggling, adopting to Kamala Harris as his new opponent, as opposed to Joe Biden. I'm telling you, we are running against the media. Trump is running against the media too. So he's got to make that part of his campaign, the fake news media. And what he's got to start doing is, if I'm him, I'm making that an ad. I am making that an ad. This is another video that I want to show you to prove that you're running against the media, not or in the Democrat machine. You're running against the donor class. You're running against the global elites. This is Kamala Harris in regards to the BLM riots and what she had to say then. This is video clip number 7. This is actually her speaking to Stephen Colbert as well. Let's go ahead and roll that. Por favor, Gabe.
I know that there are protests still happening in major cities across the United States. I'm just not seeing the reporting on it that I had
that's right.
for the first few weeks.
That's right. But they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And they're not. This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And everyone should take note of that on both levels, that they're not going to let up, and they should not, and we should not.
She's speaking of rioters that destroyed Minneapolis. $500 billion worth of damage with a feckless governor that was in office that basically refused to help out the Minneapolis mayor for days on end, that also decided to allow the Minneapolis Police Department to freaking burn to the ground. He told them to give it up. This is Kamala Harris. I've got more video that I'm going to show you in the next block. But again, this makes it all the more important as to why Trump needs to go on alternate places to get his message out. And going on with Elon Musk was absolutely great, because we have to start reminding people of the issues, the pain that people are feeling now, whether it's economic pain, whether it's seeing taxes and job losses and the price of housing, whether it's the crime that they're seeing. And don't let Democrats tell you that crime is being reduced. There's less crime in the United States or in major cities. No, there's more crime. It's just been reclassified. Remember the Proposition 47 that Kamala Harris summarized and wrote basically, where what used to be felonies are now misdemeanors? Don't let anyone tell you crime is dropping. We'll be right back. You've asked and MyPillow listened. They're finally bringing you the most requested offer ever. Right now, you can get the queen size premium MyPillow for only $19.98. Hi, Carl Jackson here for MyPillow. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable feel. It adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long, so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get their 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets for only $25. The brand new mattress topper for as low as $69.98, and their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-858-0263. Use promo code CARL, C-A-R-L, to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow that's now only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay. Order today. Use promo code CARL at checkout. Welcome back to the program. This is the Carl Jackson Show. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. Also, all things social media at the Carl Jackson Show. I am on X, Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, and Getter, wherever I am on social media at the Carl Jackson Show. Before we went to the break, we played you the video clip of Kamala Harris on Stephen Colbert's program back in the day, where she was talking about the BLM rioters. And basically, hey, you better watch out. I mean, this was absolutely crazy. Just appeasing the left, appeasing terrorists, domestic terrorists that were burning down major cities. And this is the woman who, again, the governor of Minneapolis allowed the Minneapolis Police Department to fall, allowed cities to burn in his state, did absolutely nothing about it. And then you had Kamala Harris as the sitting vice president of the United States, willing to help out with a bail fund so that rioters, domestic terrorists, were bailed out of jail. Here's something. Now, this is who Kamala Harris is. Whatever policy positions that she comes out with, they're going to try to moderate her. They're going to try to make Kamala not look like the communist that she is. Do not fall for it. Please do not fall for this. All right. This is Kamala Harris in a nutshell. This lady wants to be an authoritarian. This is a video clip I'm sure you've probably not seen. I want you to watch this video, and I want you to brace yourself, because this is what you're in for if this lady wins the White House. Let's roll video clip number 9. Por favor, Gabe.
For what can be done in the state of California and by extension the United States. And here's what we did. It was fabulous. And this is what I love about being elected, because basically you don't have to ask anybody permission.
All right. You don't have to ask anybody permission. You don't even have to ask voters permission when you want to become the nominee, the presidential candidate or the presidential nominee of the Democrat Party. Screw those 14 million voters. You don't think Kamala Harris would act like a dictator? Given given what she said, if she gets in office, this is a lady, guys, we already know who she is. All right. She wanted to get rid of the Trump tax cuts. That means you're going to pay more money to the federal government. She wanted to impose a carbon tax. That means that Green New Deal, all these jobs that she's talking about bringing. No, she's going to raise your taxes, and she's going to continue with this Green New Deal hoax. She wanted to ban plastic straws. She wants to eliminate the filibuster in the Senate so that she could shove legislation right down Congress's throat. She wants to reduce your red meat consumption, because she wants to save the planet, and she wants you to grow weaker. This is a lady that wants to ban the right to work nationwide, hitting states like Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida especially hard. This was a lady that was the border czar that wanted open borders. I mean, this lady is completely ridiculous. Medicare for all, so socialized medicine, single-payer healthcare system. Again, we watched the video of Black Lives Matter. This lady, an assault weapons buyback. This lady will try and confiscate your guns and take away your rights. And what she likes about being elected, she doesn't have to ask anybody, what to do. She wants to reconstruct ICE. Why would you want to reconstruct ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement federal agency, from scratch? Why would she want to do that? She wants illegal aliens that she and Joe Biden let into the country to have a pathway to citizenship. Guys, that's just amnesty. That's amnesty. And this is her running mate. I want to play this video of Tim Walsh, Stolen Valor. Tim Walsh came out earlier this week, pounding his chest. Oh, I'm proud of my service, and saying all this. For people that no one criticizes service. Service is admirable in the military. It's admirable. But what we're criticizing is the lie that he's been telling about his status, his rank as he retired, and also using weapons of war in a war zone. For one, he was never in a war zone. And for two, you don't use AR-15s in war zones because they're like little 22s with higher velocity, but they're higher velocity rounds. The guy's just a complete and utter liar. But here's Tim Walsh with Gold Star families pretending as if he feels their pain because he's pretending in front of Gold Star families like he's been in a war zone. And guys, let me tell you something. I don't want to get overly focused or completely focused on Tim Walsh. I think we really need to start focusing on Kamala Harris. But there's a reason that Kamala Harris picked Tim Walsh, and it's because he's a communist just like her, and he'll be subservient to her. I'm absolutely convinced of it. Absolutely convinced of it. All right. And he believes what she believes, and she's comfortable with that. Let's roll video clip number 10. Por favor, Gabe.
And both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home. And that was the extent of it. That was in 2004. Now, I'm proud to say that because of the people sitting in here and people who came before me, things have changed over the last 4 years. They have not changed enough. But Mr. Kennedy is following and moving something forward that the late senator from Minnesota, Senator Wellstone, advocated so clearly, mental health parity, and this issue of destigmatizing mental health, of understanding. And I, being in there and knowing as a first sergeant, know exactly what you're saying, and watching as people aren't trained on this, that there is there's a discrimination that goes against a soldier who has the courage, the fortitude, and as you said, the insight to admit this. So there's a couple things I want to ask you.
All right, so that's Governor Tim Walsh, basically playing the role in Congress as if he was in a war zone. Now, remember, Trump has told us what he wants to do: seal the border, carry out the largest deportation operation in America, end inflation, make America the dominant energy producer, keep men out of women's sports, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gangs, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing machine, more large tax cuts. He's going to have to run against the media. He put out a policy plan, 20 of his ideas. Kamala Harris has stole one. No taxes for tips. So she stole one of those. So you can imagine she's probably going to steal more. Newt Gingrich, I'm not sure if we have enough time for this, Gabe, but if we do, I think this is a very important video to run. I ran across this video of Newt Gingrich. This is Newt Gingrich in 2012 fighting the media narrative, fighting against CNN at a presidential debate. I want to run it. Trump did this. He took up that mantle in 2016. He's going to have to do it again. Let's go ahead and roll Newt Gingrich. Por favor, Gabe. Video clip number 1, I believe.
As you know, your ex-wife gave an interview to ABC News and another interview at the Washington Post, and this story has now gone viral on the internet. In it, she says that you came to her in 1999, at a time when you were having an affair. She says you asked her, sir, to enter into an open marriage. Would you like to take some time to respond to that?
No, but I will. I think the destructive, vicious, negative nature of much of the news media makes it harder to govern this country, harder to attract decent people to run for public office, and I am appalled that you would begin a presidential debate on a topic like that. Every person in here knows personal pain. Every person in here has had someone close to them go through painful things. To take an ex-wife and make it 2 days before the primary a significant question in a presidential campaign is as close to despicable as anything I can imagine. My two daughters wrote the head of ABC and made the point that it was wrong, that they should pull it, and I am frankly astounded that CNN would take trash like that and use it to open a presidential debate.
As you noted, Mr. Speaker, this story did not come from our network. As you also know, it is the subject of conversation on the campaign. I get your point. I take your point.
John, it was repeated by your network. You chose to start the debate with it. Don't try to blame somebody else. You and your staff chose to start this debate with it. Now, let me be quite clear. The story is false. Every personal friend I have who knew us in that period says the story was false. We offered several of them to ABC to prove it was false. They weren't interested because they would like to attack any Republican. They're attacking the governor. They're attacking me. I'm sure they'll presently get around to Senator Santorum and Congressman Paul. I am tired of the elite media protecting Barack Obama by attacking Republicans.
All right, that was Newt Gingrich, former Speaker Newt Gingrich, in the 2012 presidential debate. Guys, in order for Donald Trump to defeat Kamala Harris, he is going to have to defeat the media again. All right, he took up that mantle in 2016. It's time for him to take it up again. Do you want lower gas prices? Do you want lower food prices? Do you want a sealed border? Do you want less crime? Do you want more opportunity in the United States of America? Vote for Trump and Vance. But Trump is going to have to take on the media again. Don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.